Did Walter Collins run away from home? Was he kidnapped by a traveling band of wayward sons? Was he any good at calculus? Stick around and you might just find out the answers to these questions on this episode of Unsolved Mysteries. Solved! Welcome back to the only podcast broadcast directly into your brain via new agey technology. Don't ask me about it. I don't understand it. I just know that's what's happening.
Crystal pyramids!
Sure.
You said new agey technology.
I am your humble host and PhD in solving unsolved mysteries, Dr. Chad Kimmons. With me, as always, is my lovely and fully vaccinated co-host, colleague, and worshiper of the old ones, especially Cthulhu, Dr. Cassandra Cherry. Cass, how are you now?
Well, I'm just doing fantastic. I just finished my ablutions in the worshipful bath of blood for the great and all-powerful mighty Cthulhu from the outer realms. And Oglethorpe is doing great today. As always, the endless hunger does require sacrifice. And today the sacrifice is time. How are you doing?
Today the sacrifice is the time it takes to record this podcast. That's what I meant.
Yes, it's going to devour every listener of this podcast today, thanks to crystal pyramids in the sky.
Okay, you didn't tell me they were in the sky. I think maybe we should stop using this shit now.
That's what bothers you?
Yes. I don't...
What, do you not like airplanes because they're in the sky?
There's a reason it's called Skynet. Or, sorry, I emphasized the wrong part. Skynet, Cass.
Do-do-do-do. Terminator's gonna come back and destroy us all.
I'm doing good. You asked how I was doing. So
yes.
I'm doing,
God, we're off to a good start today.
have you ever heard of Walter Collins?
No, but I know the Wayward Sons. I know that. You mentioned the Wayward Sons, and then I was thinking Wolford and Sons, and then I was thinking like that one song Run, I think is what they was on, but I don't know if that was that them? I have no idea.
I assume you mean Mumford and Sons.
Mumford, yes!
I don't know what Wolford and Sons is, but...
I don't know. It had a W and 2 syllables. It was close enough.
Was it though? Didn't even start with the same letter.
Oh, wait, yeah. It was the M upside down is a W, and reverse is an M. Gotcha.
Right, I will give you that one. That
yeah.
is an upside down M. Anyway, it's kind of like the Bobby Dunbar case in that this kid just went missing, and we're going to talk about it. So.
Oh, okay.
And this week, it's kind of a two-part. It's not really a two-parter. There's two parts to the story.
All right.
The second part isn't actually a mystery. It's like, I think it's called the Wineville Chicken Coop Murders or something like that, but it ties into this, so.
Okay.
But I gotta tell you, this case has everything. Child endangerment.
Oh, I love that. We love
mistreatment of those involved by the authorities.
Oh,
corruption.
That's classic. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's spicy.
Female disempowerment. It's got everything.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That sounds peachy keen. What era is this? The 1900s?
Yes.
That makes sense.
1900s.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that tracks.
I guess let's go ahead and jump right on in here. So,
let's do
on
it.
Sorry. On March 10th of 1928, Christine Collins discovered every parent's worst fear.
Oh.
That her son Walter was nowhere to be found.
Oh,
and
no.
I feel like the way I worded that made it sound like every parent's worst fear is that Christine Collins' son Walter is nowhere to be found.
Oh no! Walter went missing! Every parent on the block. What? That child is a gem! How could this be?
What I meant was their worst fear is that their own child would go missing.
Yeah. I understand. We got this. The brains are simpatico.
While the police suspected originally that Walter had just run away, Christine feared the worst, that he had been kidnapped or murdered.
Naturally. That's the first conclusion we jump to whenever a child has gone missing for more than 5 seconds.
Sure, yeah. I don't know why I said it like that. I was actually agreeing with you. But she refused to believe that her son would run away. And so she came to the conclusion that he had been kidnapped. And with the suspicion that he had been taken, police started to scan the street that they lived on and the neighborhood of Lincoln Heights in Los Angeles.
Okay.
Because that's where this takes place.
Yeah.
It's in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So they originally targeted local thugs, and they questioned and interrogated them on the whereabouts of Walter, but nothing turned up. And the local thugs thing makes me think of like, hey, you mooks, you seen this boy by the name of Collins? And they're like, nah, coppers, we ain't seen nothing. Get out of here, you pigs. You better respect us. And I don't know why they're from, like, New York. I clearly said Los Angeles.
I mean, all big city cops and thugs sound the same, right? It's not racially charged or anything.
We ain't seen nothing. Ain't no little boys around here except for Jimmy Two Toes over there.
Jimmy Two Toes?
We use him to get into tight places and steal things. I don't know. That's just his nickname.
Oh, jeez.
He joined up when his parents died, see?
In a horrible toe slamming accident. Knocked too many toes into the car doors.
Into the what?
Car doors.
Car doors?
Yeah, car doors.
Oh, okay. Okay, I just... You were laying the accent on so thick I couldn't understand what you were saying.
Neither could anyone else, probably. Because to me, what I was saying sounded like kado, which is corner in Japanese.
Oh, I heard cuddle. Like to cuddle something.
The wonders of a R, or a non-existent R, or an L. Can anyone tell what that is? No. R's and L's are a mystery of language.
I mean, a lot of people can tell the difference between R's and L's, but...
Not me.
Okay, learn something new about your co-host every day.
Oh, yeah.
At least every time we record.
Yeah, oh, yeah. I'll mess up every once in a while, and I'll be like, okay, I just creamed the floors over here, and it's like, no, I meant to say clean. Why would I say cream?
So anyway, we're going to go ahead and move on from that.
Sure. There are too many comments to make about that, and I just realized that right now.
Yeah, nothing came of the interrogation of these, quote, local thugs.
Quote, unquote.
It was later that they were seeking out witnesses that might have seen this happen, that one of the neighbors, Mrs. A. Baker, claimed that she saw Walter in a car begging to be released in the company of two foreign-looking people, which begs the question, why didn't you come forth sooner?
Yeah, honestly, if I'd seen a kid being like, help, let me out, these guys are nuts! I want to go home! Normally, your first reaction would be to, I don't know, call 911 maybe? Or at least like a child help hotline or something?
Or get the license plate or something,
Yeah.
and then go to his mom and be like, hey, I just saw your kid in a car begging for help. Here's the license plate. That's all I was willing to do.
The bare minimum. Oh, jeez.
But other neighbors gave information as well, and they said that a few days prior to Walter's abduction, there was an Italian-looking man and a woman who were asking for Walter's address. All information and all leads led nowhere. This, even though they had this information, nothing came of it.
Mm-hmm.
And there was just no trace of Walter that led to anybody, led to him being found.
Yeah.
They did search the Lincoln Park Lake for his body, in case he had been murdered. And after a massive search of the northeastern part of the city, there was still no trace of him, and he had now been missing for over a month.
Yikes. And when it's been that long, there's only so many conclusions you can draw.
Right. Not Christine, though.
Oh, no?
Nope. While she was devastated, she still remained hopeful that every day she was going to hear news of her son.
Mm-hmm.
And months passed, and she still had to work daily, wondering about Walter's fate and everything. And she was losing sleep over this, obviously, and just lost all motivation to continue her normal life. Not like kill herself, but like she had no motivation to go to work or anything. But she still didn't give up.
Still, not giving up. She was going to persevere. Go above and beyond. Plus, ultra!
What's that Galaxy Quest movie? Is that what it is? Never give up, never surrender.
Yeah, that one.
5 months later, well, after the disappearance, not after. Anyway, 5 months after the disappearance, Walter was found.
Mm-hmm.
It's now August, and Christine received news that Walter was alive in Kalb, Illinois.
Okay, that DeKalb, Illinois. How far away is that from, like, their house?
From Los Angeles? Like,
Yeah.
Probably, like, at least 2/3 of the nation.
Yeah, it's a pretty far distance. Is DeKalb, Illinois particularly known for human trafficking?
I don't know.
Because I know, like, Oklahoma is, like, the central hub for the entire rigmarole.
Yeah, I have no idea. Especially, I feel like back then it would have been different anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But Walter was immediately put on a train to Los Angeles. And this was, like, they had a huge celebration planned. And the police force was like, yeah, we did it! Like, they thought this was a massive success because they were getting the kid back. But as the train came to a stop, Christine immediately exclaimed that was not her son coming out of the train.
Oh, shit.
So you see the similarities between Bobby Dunbar. It's like basically the same story, just different details.
Yeah, some little shifts in detail. But dang, so sad. Can you imagine, like, especially if that actually was the kid? It's like, Mom, don't you recognize me?
We're getting to that.
Oh, no.
Yeah, she told Captain J.J. Jones of the LAPD that this was not her son. And the captain would not believe what Christine was saying. He explained, he basically said, he was like, oh, well, he probably just changed. I mean, it's been 5 months, 5 whole months of growing boy. You know, he's probably just changed a whole lot.
Yeah.
And because trauma and shit.
Yeah, naturally. People aren't going to be the same after, like, a half year being in captivity.
Fair. But Christine continued to, no, that's not my f***ing son. I know my son. Captain Jones would not take her word for it and would, under no circumstances, let it be known that the Los Angeles Police Department had made a mistake, which that seems to be a theme that has stayed true throughout the years.
Yeah, throughout all history and all continents, the police make mistakes.
And then don't want to admit that they made mistakes.
Nope, they're very insistent. This is the son, ma'am. We have given you your son, ma'am. Please stop bothering us about your son, ma'am. This is success. We're not going to reflect at all.
He is a boy. He is the same age-ish of your son. Take him. Go. That is pretty much exactly what happened. He was,
Wow.
like, just told her to take the boy, go home, and, quote, try him out for a while. Just take him home, try him out for a while. If you don't like him, bring him back. You'll get a fuel refund. It's not a big deal.
Jesus Christ, treating a child like a used car.
Exactly. His hope was that her memory of him would, like, coalesce or whatever, and she would eventually be like, oh, okay, yeah, this is definitely him.
Yeah.
But she was feeling pressure from the public and the police about this reunion, so she agreed to take him home, and, you know, she agreed to house him and feed him and whatnot, because if nothing else, she wasn't going to let this poor child go hungry.
Yeah, it was a child still, even if it wasn't her child.
The police also started questioning Walter, hoping that they would find his abductor. He was questioned on, like, how he escaped the kidnapper, and the police also wanted to know how he had ended up in Illinois, obviously. But neither police nor doctors were able to get any straight answers out of him.
Yeah?
He said very little, and they said that it was almost like he was keeping some kind of secret.
Secrets, huh?
They just couldn't get him, they just couldn't get him to say what he might know. Now, Christine continued, like, she knew that this was not her son. Like I said, she agreed to house and care for him, but she still wanted to prove that she was right, not only to clear her own name, but also because this isn't her f***ing son.
God. That's gotta be frustrating and confusing on so many levels.
Right. She obviously didn't want the police to stop looking, since she was certain that Walter was still out there.
Yeah.
And she decided to use Walter's dental records to prove the difference between Walter and this other boy. The boy that now lived with her. And the records actually did indicate that there were marked differences between the two boys' teeth, meaning this was not her son.
Okay.
And she took these records to J.J. Jones, but the records were no help.
Mm-hmm.
The records were no help because not only did Jones not believe Christine, even with the records, he decided that Christine was just trying to humiliate the Los Angeles Police Department. Because
letting his own pride get in the way.
Fragile male egos.
Jeez. I can't be wrong. You must be wrong. I am always right because I went to Always Right University.
I am man. Hear me always be right even when I'm wrong. And then make a big deal about it and gaslight you to make you think you're wrong despite the fact that you have conclusive proof that I am wrong.
Wonderful narcissism in our police departments. Nothing can go wrong.
Now, Captain Jones, being, the upstanding citizen that he was, would not stand for this slander.
No, of course not. Oh.
Especially from a woman.
How dare a woman presume to tell a man that he is wrong? Probably a little over the top, but...
Now, since he wouldn't stand for this slander, he immediately took action and had Christine committed to a psychopathic ward of the General Hospital to be placed under observation under Code 12 internment, which was typically intended to jail someone who was proving to be difficult. Notice the way that was, that was straight from Wikipedia, which was intended to jail anyone who was proving to be difficult.
Shit, man. This sort of reminds me of something that I recorded recently. I can't talk much about it, but because, NDAs and stuff like that, but it...
Yeah, I got you. So, Christine was in the hospital. She was under harsh circumstances. She was treated inhumanely. She was subjected to all kinds of medicine to, quote, bring her to her senses and to make her admit that the boy that she had been taking care of was actually Walter. She was in there for 10 days, and then there was news that released Christine because the supposed Walter had confessed that he was not the real Walter.
He was lying!
Exactly.
He had a good opportunity to get out of a bad situation and maybe get a loving home out of it, and so he took it. But now there are unforeseen consequences to his actions, and he feels guilty.
Not exactly. He wasn't in a bad situation necessarily.
Oh, okay.
His name was actually Arthur Hutchins Jr. This name was discovered even after he had provided another fake name of Billy Fields.
Huh.
When he was questioned as to why he pretended to be Walter, he admitted that he saw a picture of Walter and realized they kind of resembled each other and saw an opportunity because he knew that if he pretended to be Walter, he would have a one-way ticket to Los Angeles and an increased chance of making it in the movies, which is what he wanted to do, and maybe even meet some of his favorite stars.
Wow, that's selfish. That's selfish as hell.
Now keep in mind, he was a kid, but still, that's shitty.
Yeah, that's like baby sociopath in training.
Right. But after all this came out, because now the captain was forced to admit that he was wrong, and they resumed the search for Walter from the very beginning with no leads. Christine went back to her job and was back to her daily routine where she would work and then go home and just kind of sit around and hope to hear some good news about Walter.
Yeah.
Now, this is where the other part of the story comes in. Because meanwhile, in the Legion of Doom... meanwhile, in Wineville, California...
Okay. I mean, not that dissimilar, but...
Right. I wonder what they do in Wineville.
I don't know. Is Wineville in Orange County?
I don't know. Wineville, I bet they make rum. It just sounds...
That sounds like that would be definitely their main output of material. Maybe they mine marble.
Just like in Rumstown, they make wine.
Exactly. So, that's the only logical conclusion. They swapped.
It's like the Greenland and Iceland thing.
Yeah, naturally. You swap the most logical options just to shake it up, keep people on their toes.
Not many people know this. Wineville and Rumstown were actually also founded by Leif Erikson, who discovered... Wait, was it Leif Erikson who discovered
that's
Greenland,
the Viking.
Iceland?
Yeah, I think so.
Or did he discover Newfoundland?
Oh, no, now I gotta Google this.
It was a Viking. I don't remember if it was Leif Erikson or not.
All right, Leif Erikson, what did you do? A Norse explorer from Iceland. He is thought to have been the first European to have set foot on continental North America, excluding Greenland, approximately half a millennium before Christopher Columbus.
Okay, so he was the one who discovered
The Northwest Passage.
Newfoundland, I believe.
Yeah.
Anyway, in Wineville, California, there were events occurring. Unthinkable events, Cass.
Oh, unthinkable, are they? Would you say they are dastardly in nature?
Yeah, I'd say they're pretty dastardly, Cass.
Okay.
You'll see why I said it like that in a minute.
Let's see.
So everything that was going on there started to unravel when Jessie Clark, who was eager to check up on her younger brother, Sanford Clark, who had moved to California 2 years prior with their uncle Gordon Stewart Northcott and his mother, Sarah Louise. Anyway, she was starting to become concerned for Sanford's safety and the situation with their uncle Gordon.
Okay.
And so she traveled down to find out exactly what was going on. She basically had fears that he was being abused and tormented by Gordon, and this all came out when she went down to visit.
Okay.
Basically, Gordon started to become violent towards Jessie.
Mm-hmm.
And she took action. She went back to Canada and told everything to her mother, who, without hesitation, informed the police of the abuse that was going on.
Mm-hmm.
U.S. authorities got this information of what was going on with, Gordon and her brother and whatnot. Made an immediate visit to his residence in Wineville, which is a ranch out in the middle of nowhere. And when Northcott saw the authorities coming up, he demanded that Sanford stall them for as long as he possibly could.
Like, all of this, I'm not even, thinking of, 1900s sort of, scenario. It sounds like a Western, sort of like the sheriff and his deputies are getting ready for a shootout at this Wineville ranch.
They had cars, but at the same time, this was out in the middle of nowhere in California in 1928, so...
Yeah, valid. They were cars, but how good could they be? It was 1920.
He did as he was told because he was afraid of Gordon, and Gordon and his mother, again Sarah Louise, ran, and neither of them was captured until they were found in British Columbia, which is a long way to run.
Yeah, that's like an entire continent almost. At least half a continent.
It was crucial that they be captured because Sanford told the police that Gordon and Sarah had murdered Walter Collins.
Oh, that's where it connects.
Yes.
I was wondering where it connects. But how would they get a hold of little Walter?
I don't think it says. I think they just went to Los Angeles and kidnapped him.
But why?
I don't know. Because they like killing little boys, as you'll find out here in just a second.
Is this a habit?
Would you let me finish, Kat?
Sorry, I'm invested. I'm trying to figure it out.
This one isn't a mystery, though. We know what happened here. I just need to be able to tell you about it.
Okay, fine. Tell me about it. I'll shut up for a little bit. Just a little bit, though, mind you.
Sanford also told the police that Walter was not the only boy that had been killed by Gordon and Sarah, but there were other boys' remains at the farm as well. And he basically told the police everything that had gone on, said that the boys were killed by an axe, and that quicklime had been poured over their bodies before disposing of them. Obviously, shock and disbelief. They all went back to Wineville to dig up the remains of these bodies.
Yeah.
There were physical remains that were found on the farm proving that, there had been boys there that had been, including a pair of brothers who had gone missing about 30 miles away, the Winslow brothers, or 30 miles away from where Walter had been taken, actually. They found library books belonging to the boys, and clothes had been found in the chicken coop where they had been locked in. There was a note written by the Winslow brothers that was discovered that said, "Don't worry, we're fine," which I assume they were forced to write or something.
Yeah.
Then Sanford took them to the graves. There were only pieces of the bodies there, though. They didn't find they didn't find even one intact body.
Wow.
They had apparently emptied the graves and burned the bodies in the desert after Jessie had come down to check on her brother, fearing the worst, But then in December 3rd, They confessed to the murder of the Winslow brothers and Alvin Gothea, and Sarah Northcott confessed to the murder of Walter Collins. Gordon hinted that there had actually been more than just the 4 boys that they had killed, which is really dumb.
Yeah.
I killed 16. They only found 4. I better tell them about the other 12.
Just a dumbass. Like, maybe he believed that they were on to the rest of them, and it's like, oh, maybe if I say it, like, ahead of time, I can, like, lessen my sentence. Nope, you just done fucked yourself.
Even back then, 1 murder was probably enough to hang, which is what they were sentenced to.
Oh, yeah.
Today, if you're convicted of multiple murders, telling them about the others isn't gonna, quote, lessen your sentence. You're still gonna be in prison for life. So
dumb, so bad. Like, they were dumb and bad already for killing children, but, like, what the f***? Like, I don't know, I don't get it. Like, why even? Just why even?
Despite the fact that they did find parts of Walter's body, or what they assumed was Walter's body, Christine Collins was still not satisfied with this answer.
Yeah. My boy is still out there, I believe!
Right. So she went to talk to Gordon Northcott.
Yeah.
And even though he had previously admitted to killing these children and to killing Walter, he now said that they didn't kill Walter. He told her that they did not kill her, or kill her son.
What?
And she believed him, and she basically went to her grave believing that her son was still alive.
That poor, poor woman.
On the one hand, kind of dumb.
Yeah.
On the other, I don't have children, but I can imagine that if there was even a glimmer of hope that my child was still alive, I would probably hold on to it.
Like, I mean, I would until there was, like, pretty conclusive evidence to the contrary. Like, finding the dead remains that could prove his death, like, it would... Again, I would look for the dental records. If they could find, like, the jaws of my child, that would probably prove it.
And I think that was part of the thing, was that there wasn't a complete body, because I think they burned everything that could be an identifying marker. So.
Yeah, but that's so rude.
And
that's
then,
so rude.
You know, since he said that they didn't kill Walter, and there was no conclusive proof that her son was buried there, that's why she continued to believe. And I can't say that I blame her.
Yeah. I don't know that I would be able to live with that kind of poisonous hope, though.
Right. It would be tainted.
Yeah. Because there's a point where that kind of hope just leads to more pain.
Right. But that is everything on Walter Collins.
Okay.
So, tell me, Cass, what really happened to Walter? Is he still alive, or what's going on?
Well, originally I was sort of like leaning towards Faye abduction. Like, especially with the child who looked like her son but wasn't. That sounds like a classic case of Faye abduction and then changeling exchange.
Right.
And then she would have had a changeling child and just raised him up in her household like a cuckoo. But with the added complication of the Wineville Ranch people, I'm gonna say that they were vampires.
Oh, hold on. What?
Well,
You went from, the Fae thing, I was with you, but you gave literally nothing to back up the vampire claim, which I know I didn't give you a chance, but still just, like, you had no lead into, like, you know, like, since they were murdered in a chicken coop, and, like, obviously these people, like, you didn't add anything else, just they were vampires.
okay.
You know vampires keep their victims in chicken coops, right?
Oh, well, naturally, because they are livestock, you know. And, well, yeah. And so, but these particular vampires were very particular about the type of blood that they drank. They would only drink virgin boy blood. Because that is obviously the most holy and tasteful. I mean, that's what the Catholic priests do, virgin boys. Hallelujah. But
They just roll up. Hey, you seen any virgin boys around here lately? You want to maybe phrase that different, Gordon?
I meant what I said.
I know what we're doing here isn't great. We are going to drink their blood, but that just makes us sound even worse.
It really does. I mean, but all of the ancient Christian texts are like, there's power in virgin blood, and everyone thinks about how the virgin girls are so powerful because they're so pure and untainted, but no one ever thinks of boys as being just as powerful in their virginity. No one since Lancelot has ever been extolled for the power of their untainted crotchal region.
And I think that has to do with, because, the girls have the womb and provide life, and you don't want that to be tainted before marriage.
Dastardly.
Because the child will come out with 7 arms! Of course! 7 arms and 12 eyes! 2 noses!
If you have sex before marriage, your child will be a mutant, and you will die.
Shit, man, I'm gonna have so many... Oh, wait, you will die.
What?
I was gonna say, I'm gonna have so many mutant babies now. I didn't want children until just now. I want mutant babies.
Oh, that would be funny. Just start the X-Men facility all on your own with your own children. Just treat it like Umbrella Academy.
Are we talking about Marvel-style mutants or just mutants with genetic defects?
Por que no los dos, my dude?
Okay, so you were talking about, I don't know if you were done, but you were talking about why they were virgins, why they were vampires.
Yeah. I mean, that, it makes sense, right? Yeah, they were definitely vampires. And maybe the reason why he said that Walter was still alive is because when they drained Walter of his life force, perhaps Walter had fought back and accidentally ingested the vampire blood, which when you lose all of your human blood and you ingest some vampire blood, that does in fact turn you into a vampire. So Walter got turned into a vampire on accident, and that's how they didn't kill him, because he re-alived after being detonated, and that's why he was alive but could never go home, because then he'd have to eat his mom.
I feel like if he was a vampire, it would be better for him to go home.
Oh? Why is that?
Because then not only would he have a much wider variety of people to feed on, but he could maintain his cover with his mother.
Yeah, probably that would be the logical decision, but also Walter was a child. A traumatized child at that. And the whole thing with, I am a monster! I can't let my mother see me like this! I don't deserve to live a normal life! That happens.
So I was gonna go with something super outlandish.
Oh, please, hit me with it. I'm dying to know.
Not quite that outlandish.
Really?
I think to balance this out, I have to... He's dead. His mother just couldn't accept it.
He's dead, Jim. Just plain and simple, he did.
Yeah, he was murdered by the Northcotts.
Yeah, and they're just being assholes and giving her false hope.
Yeah, wait, are you changing yours, or are you just, adding on to mine?
Yes.
You're being very difficult today.
Yes. I'm not changing mine, though. I was just helping you with yours.
Regardless, I think we solved this one, guys. Mystery solvers. We have successfully solved another. One way or another, Walter's dead. Either he is dead and has risen as a vampire, or he's just dead. I
mean, undeath is just another stage in the great cycle of re-life.
But since we have solved it, and you witnessed it right here, no one else has solved this case. Only us.
Right here on this daytime TV channel in 1995.
Nope, that's wrong. Wrong year. But anyway, as usual, if you want to hear a mystery solved right here on the podcast, you can send us an email to mysteriessolvedpodcast, all one word, @gmail.com. You can also find us on Twitter at UMS_podcast, or on Facebook at Unsolved Mysteries Solved. On the Facebook group, on the Discord, that link is on our Twitter, and I will try to remember to start putting that in the show notes from now on.
Yay.
So that you don't have to go to Twitter if you don't want to. Oh, and don't forget, there's only about a month left before we do our live stream on June 12th with the wonderful Abby Rose.
It's gonna be fantastic.
It's gonna be a nightmare.
Oh yeah, just two of us. You're gonna have to deal with two of us now. Abby and I vibe.
I know.
God, the wavelengths are gonna be insane.
We will be announcing the host, not like the guest host, but the host for the stream. Like where you can watch it, basically, and the time and whatnot on very soon on a future episode. We are still kind of working some stuff out with the logistics of that, but we will get it down. And remember, we will be doing a live Q&A, so get those questions in as soon as possible. And unless Cass has anything else,
I guess yeah.
Finally?
Yeah, finally, after all these years, after so many delays and everything, newest book is out. It's part 2 of a 3-part mystery series. Very Christian if you're into that, but that's what my patron does. Bullseye from the Falsely Accused series by Virginia Smith.
Check that out if it feels like something you might want to read. And we will see you right back here next Saturday for a brand new mystery. And in the meantime, between time, Cass.
If you question us, you will be put down mercilessly.
Right you are.
Yes.
Now it's time to say goodbye, so say goodbye, Cass.
Bye-bye!
Bye-bye. Thanks for listening, guys. F***ing mole people!
Looking for a new podcast? Check out the Infectious Groove podcast. My name is Russ, and I host the show along with Michelle and Kyle. Every Monday, the three of us bring you music news and tell you our jammy jams, so you'll always have new music to check out. The Infectious Groove podcast discusses music from nearly every decade and genre while openly displaying our passion for music you need to hear. On top of that, we have a thought-provoking main topic of discussion every week to get you thinking, discussing, and sharing music. We also include interviews with the music stars of yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all major podcast platforms. Subscribe and listen to the Infectious Groove podcast on your favorite podcast platform today.